Good morning, Greensburg, Keystone Church. How are you doing? Are you ready for the day? I think it's supposed to be raining today, but there's warm weather coming and it's on the horizon. And so there's just a lot to be thankful for. I really do believe that. I believe that there are a lot that if we just take the time and look for it, and that we're expecting it, there's a lot to be thankful for. And I know so many people have spent so much time in clouds and just distracted by all of the bad things or distracted by all the things that you can get distracted by. And it's hard to find sometimes the sun rays and the sunlight peeking through. But I hope that you're able to do that. That's what I'm praying for you. I'm praying that your family is prospering. If you are struggling financially or if you're struggling in just in other ways, I'm praying that you just start to experience some of those breakthroughs as things start to change and move in the right direction. That's what we're going to talk about today. There is a lot that seems to be happening with the idea of moving towards reopening. Some people are saying that it's too soon. We can't reopen yet. Others are saying it's too late. We need to reopen much quicker than this. And one side's hearing the extreme of the other side. And I don't think anybody is saying don't take any precautions regardless of what they're saying, whether they're saying stay closed or whether they're saying open it up. So there's some thinking and some strategy and all that goes into it. But here's what I want to challenge you to do as you start to think about it, all right? I was listening to a sermon this afternoon, and in that sermon, I heard a verse that I hadn't heard in a while that made me start thinking, and I want to share it with you. And it gives the image of, if you're outside and you're working in the yard, and it's one of those warm days, summer days, and it's hot, and you're sweaty and you're ready to come in and relax. And the first thing that you do when you come in is you go straight into the kitchen and you pour yourself a glass of ice water and you take a sip of that ice water, and then you get those really annoying loud gulps that you start to take as you drink much louder than you probably should, but you can't help it because that is that feeling of just something that you've longed for and that you're thirsting for, and there is nothing like that moment. Sorry, all you other soda drinkers or all that. We're talking about water here and the way that water is, and so, man, that is so refreshing and so incredible. Well, Proverbs 25:25 says, like cold water to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. Did you know that we were created, for some reason, somehow, we were created to need good news? Not just look for good news, not just hope for good news, but we need good news because there's something mentally that goes on and psychologically that goes on when we get good news. And so good news is good for us. And so even though there's plenty of bad news and so many things that we can get discouraged and upset and frustrated about, what we really need is good news. But here's the thing, all right? What you've got to pay attention to is that right now there is a wider selection of bad news than there is good news, and so that means that you've got to search a little bit harder for the good news and maybe be deliberate about finding the good news. In fact, you've got to put yourself in the place of the good news so that you can accidentally bump into it, happen upon it, and hear it more often. And it's going to take a deliberate action and a deliberate move on your part. So that's what I want to encourage you to do today, all right? I want to encourage you as you're starting your day off, why don't you try to find good news today? At the end of the day, I want you to recap and think of at least 5 or 6 pieces of good news that you ran across today. If you're watching for it, I promise you'll find it. If you're not watching for it, I promise you'll be distracted by every bit of the bad news that is going on. Proverbs knows you need it. Hopefully you know you need it also. I'm praying for you, and let's go through this again today. We've got it, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the good news is today.